Welcome to the first episode of This Week in Football, where we're going to take a deep dive into Saturday's games in the Premier League. We had some absolute travesties in the usage of VAR. We had some massive upsets, some not so big upsets, and some crazy things that happened along the way. So join me as we have a look into these games. We've got some funny memes to share along the way. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do subscribe to the channel. Let's dive straight in with the Brighton game. So Saturday's action kicked off with the game Aston Villa versus Brighton. This was teed up to be a pretty competitive game. Everyone was expecting a lot from this match, and it just didn't turn out to be like that. After 12 minutes, Aston Villa are 3-0 up thanks to some shoddy defending from Brighton. Estepinian scored a horrendous own goal, which got me -2 points on FPL. Nice one, Estepinian. Halftime comes, Brighton makes some changes. Ansu Fati comes on the pitch, the loanee from Barcelona. He manages to score a consolation goal, but it's just not enough. Ollie Watkins puts in an absolute masterclass of a performance. Villa go on to win 6-1 in the game. That's 10 wins at home now in a row for Aston Villa. They're absolutely unstoppable at Villa Park, and Unai Emery is doing a fantastic job. The game was played in the daytime, but my sources tell me that Unai Emery went on to have a very good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
The same cannot be said for De Zerbi, who was pictured in some pretty disturbing scenes in the changing rooms after the game. Check this out.
Gebertirim lan sizi. Ağzını sikinin ilk neleri. Sen oynadığın topunu amına koyup hepinizin ne ağzını sikerim sen verdiğim emeklere lan. Ne lan bu rezalet?
Next, we turn our attention to the Vitality Stadium where Bournemouth faced off against Arsenal. Now, there was no shock here in the result of the game. It did end 4-0 to Arsenal, who moved now within 1 point of Manchester City at the top of the league. Manchester City, current league leaders and current champions, so big time for Arsenal. They got to make that move. Now, the shock in this game came from Kai Havertz. Finally scored a goal. Hey, it took him long enough, but he got some help along the way. Now, I have a bone to pick with Saka. Saka, you are in my fantasy team, as was Estepinian. I'm going to get angry with you, mate. You are the penalty taker. Why are you giving penalties away? First, you let Odegaard take a penalty. Then you let Havertz take a penalty just because you feel sorry for him. Sort it out, Saka, man. You're meant to be star boy. You did put in a great performance, though. Check out this clip of Saka helping out Havertz on the field to score his goal. Now, speaking of Saka, he was forced off late in the game due to injury. There were some concerns about the start of the game, and it does look likely that he might miss the Manchester City game in a week's time. Now, this raised some questions about Arteta, right? You guys coming in with some concerns about whether he's fit or not. He's getting kicked off the field by Bournemouth. They're just putting heavy tackles in him. You're winning 3-0. 70th minute, why are you letting him get injured? Just bring him off, save your players, man. You got to use a bit of, intelligence in those situations. Now we turn our attention to the biggest shock of the week, which is undoubtedly Manchester City versus Wolves. Now, City got off to a terrible start. First of all, they don't have the manager on the sideline. Pep Guardiola is still serving a sideline ban. Then Ruben Diaz goes and scores an own goal. And City really do struggle to get back into the game after being 1-0 down. Everything's just kind of flat and stale until Julian Alvarez scores an absolute wonder goal from a free kick. If you've not seen that, do go and check it out. But even at 1-1, City is still the better team, but it's still not looking great for them. And then Wolves do go and score the winner. And it was, what's his name? You know, that Korean guy.
Especially up front with Neto, with Cunha, with the Korean guy, and they are really, really good.
Hwang Hee-chan, that's his name, Pep. Remember the name. He scored the winner. Wolves go on to win the game 2-1. It's not a good result for City. Even with all the injuries that they do have, you would expect them to go and get the win against Wolves. They still had a pretty good team out there, but the likes of Kovacic was just not great throughout the whole game. Now, am I worried about City? No, I'm not. I'm a United fan, so I'm always worried about City, actually. But I think they probably still will go on to win the league. They're not the fastest of starters in the Premier League. They do have 2 back-to-back defeats now. They did get beat midweek off Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. They're not going to do an invincible season in the league, but will they be crowned champions at the end of it? Probably. Okay, this is the one that I have been putting off talking about. Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Full disclaimer, I'm a United fan. There's always going to be some bias, but there's also going to be some heavy criticism towards them. There wasn't a nice blue sky on the day like there is behind me. It was throwing it down, and there was a leaky roof at Old Trafford. The fans were getting piss wet through. But we're not here to talk about off the field issues and the Glazers and all that. We stick to on the pitch here on this channel. It was a poor performance. It was so bad. We beat Palace 3-0 midweek in the Carabao Cup. We turn up on Saturday. We don't look like we even want to play a game of football. No one can pass a ball. No one can string a move together. We don't look like scoring. Palace score after 25 minutes. And United just look flat. They look dead. Mason Mount looks lost on the field. Rashford's just hogging the ball. Doesn't want to pass to anyone. Now, I love Marcus Rashford and I always want him to be a direct player. But there's only a certain amount you can be direct. You have to look at your teammates around you and use them to your advantage. Rashford just... I don't know what he's doing. He just got greedy all of a sudden. He don't want to pass to Højlund. He don't want to pass to no one. At the end of the game, Harry Maguire's up front, breaking up our own attacks. He's just ruining it, killing it. Don't know what Ten Hag's doing, man. I don't know what is going on at United. We look like we're going backwards. Fair play to Palace. You came, you did a job, you got the win. Roy Hodgson broke some record for having like 5 undefeated games now at Old Trafford. How is that happening, boys? How is that happening? I don't know. We have a quick video here to sum up Man United's title race.
Oh, hell no.
Honestly, that's all I'm going to speak on United. I'm absolutely sick to death of them. Absolutely sick to death. And looking at the other games that played on the Saturday, we did have Luton versus Everton. Now, Luton came away with the first ever Premier League victory. They did beat Everton 2-1. And I was kind of surprised by this result, I'm not going to lie. Everton have had a really bad start to the season, but recently they've started looking a bit better, especially with that win over Aston Villa. I thought Sean Dyche had things turned around there, but Luton, fair play to you, came away with the win. Fair play, first Premier League win. We can't say that about the other teams, but just one more thing on Everton. Although they've had a bad start, I do believe they have enough in the squad, and with Sean Dyche to stay up again this year, I do think Luton are the more likely team to be in trouble alongside Burnley and Sheffield United. Now, if we do move on to Burnley first, they're still looking for their first win in the Premier League. Newcastle beat them 2-0. Another excellent defensive performance from Newcastle. They now have 3 wins in a row, and they're moving up the Premier League. They're doing what we all thought they would. They had a bit of a slow start to the season, but they're looking better every game. And the last game that did happen on the Saturday was West Ham and Sheffield United. Now, West Ham put in a solid performance, got the 2-0 victory. Sheffield United, once again, haven't won a game yet in the Premier League, so them and Burnley are sitting rock bottom on the table. Luton have kind of left them in the shadows a bit. They got to get that win sometime, you know, otherwise it's not looking good. The longer it goes on, the more you have to worry for Sheffield United and Burnley. David Moyes at West Ham is absolutely killing it. They're up into 7th place now, playing in Europe, 7th place in the Premier League. It's all looking good at West Ham. So there is the roundup of Saturday's football. The next one that we're going to look at is a very controversial game between Liverpool and Tottenham. Okay, so let's dive into this absolute farce of a football match. Spurs versus Liverpool. Should have been an amazing game. Spurs are flying high. Liverpool are flying high. This was an absolute shit show, man. The referees in this game, shocking. You could have put Stevie Wonder referee in this game and he would have done a better job than any of the guys on the pitch. The guys in the VAR booth, I don't know what they were doing. We start off with Curtis Jones's red card. It is never a red card. I don't know what the VAR guys are even looking at. If you get a still image of the worst moment of the tackle, it looks like a red card. But you can't just take a still image in a football match. It doesn't show the whole story. He clearly gets the ball first. His foot rolls off the ball onto the guy's leg, and then it looks bad. But you can't be sending people off for that. It wasn't a dangerous tackle when he did it. He clearly won the ball first. Absolute joke. Then we have Diaz. The Diaz situation is one of the worst footballing travesties I've ever seen. I'm a United fan, by the way. I absolutely hate Liverpool. This was stupid. You can clearly see, we'll show the image here, right? There's the image. You can see the lines have been drawn. There's no way he is offside. It gets given as offside on the field. VAR check it and say, check confirmed. We agree with the on-field decision. Now, it turns out after the game that the people in the VAR booth thought that the referee on the field had given the goal, so he was saying it was onside. So the VAR booth have decided, yeah, it is onside. We agree with you. Give the goal. But what they don't realise has happened is the on-field decision is it's offside. It's not a goal. So they've said, yeah, we agree with you. The referees on the field think it's offside, and they've disallowed the goal. Now there's about 20-30 seconds until the game restarts, and no one in the VAR booth thinks to radio through or tell the referee, look, we've made a mistake, we need to go back and give this goal. I don't care if the game's even kicked off already, even if you've played a minute and nothing's happened, you need to go back and give that goal. He's clearly onside, VAR have checked it, he's onside. It was clear to the naked eye he was onside, absolute farce. And Klopp said they've apologised for it, but Klopp said rightly in an interview, what does an apology do at the end of the day? They keep making these mistakes, they keep apologising for it. Does that get them any points? No. Could that cost them a Champions League place at the end of the season? Yeah. Does it cost them in the title race right now? Yes, it does. And then that's not where it ends. So we've already had a stupid red card, a disallowed goal for Liverpool, and then they're going to get another red card, Diego Jota later on. So 2 yellow cards. His first one, Udogie, or however you say his name, the Tottenham defender, falls over himself, right? Jota's not even anywhere near him, doesn't touch him. He falls over himself. Referee gives him a yellow card. The second one probably is a yellow card, and he gets sent off. But that first one is such a joke, man. Absolute joke once again. I never feel sorry for Scousers. I never feel sorry for Liverpool. But on this one, I genuinely feel bad for him. To top it off, Matip scored an own goal in the 96th minute. Spurs go on to win the game 2-1. Son scored the other goal for them. I mean, I feel bad for Liverpool, honestly. That was an absolute joke. The only thing that can come out of this, which is good, is they need to review this whole VAR thing, because it is absolutely terrible for the game of football. It's not making anything better. It's making it worse. It takes away from celebrations on the pitch. I don't like it in general anyway. I've never really been behind it, but the way it's being used in the Premier League is absolutely shocking, and there needs to be a massive internal review on the people in charge of it, the people using it, because it seems like they're absolute brain-dead idiots. I'm done with it. But Spurs, well done to you. You got the win. It's not Spurs' fault. We can't be angry at them. They're 1 point off the top of the table now. They're flying high. They don't look like they're missing Harry Kane. They're doing well. They didn't have the best game, but they got the job done, and that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. Commiserations to Liverpool, and I will very rarely say that. That rounds up this week's episode of This Week in Football. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd like to see another episode next week. Like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for the next one. Take it easy. Peace.